money's made by middle income America is going to change drastically. The way we make money is going to be tied to our level of creativity, and that level of creativity is going to be hinged on how we can communicate with these large learning models and these chat GPTs, these Geminis, type systems, Grok, how we can communicate with them and get what we're looking for, what we need. What we need. There are people I know that write books, and they can write a book and get almost literally within a week, pivoting off of what they get from chat GPT and then now what they put in it themselves if they go and they do it. Some I've done in a day. I've seen them do it in a day. I've done pamphlets and manuals in a day, but a book really that combines solid information from the web, from chat GPT, along with your solid experiences. It takes a little bit more time to cultivate, but even doing that within 5 to 7 days is crazy. So we don't need to be in that place where we start complaining about what's taking place with Trump in office. Because while we complain and we look at that, this revolution is taking place over here, and we're leaving skills and money on the table. Skills and money. I like to listen to PBD's podcast. Not everything, but certain pieces, I like to listen to it. I felt like this was a very good podcast to share with you. Go support the podcast, like, subscribe, follow him. But this was very, very strong. Very, very strong.
There's nothing we can do. The great millennial career crisis has workers given up on ever owning homes or paying off their student loans. This is a Market Watch story. Rob, I don't think you have a video on this one here, but I will go to the story. If you got the article you want to bring up, there you go. Christopher Drake, 39, has made a nice career for himself as a process engineer, but he isn't where he'd like to be at this point in his life and career due to what he says are broken promises from growing up as a millennial. It sucks. There's nothing we can do. Drake from Corning, New York, told Market Watch, our age bracket was told you have to go to college, get a degree to be successful. But he found out that even those who worked hard instead of partying during their college years got a serious reality check after graduation. And in the years since then, the jobs aren't there. Drake left college a decade ago with $120,000 in student loan debt, which he says sits at around $150 today, despite years of payments due to high interest rates on his loans. A lot of my friends and I discuss how there are a lot of people our age that have just given up. Drake is going through what many of his peers online are calling the great millennial career crisis, a generational struggle defined by burnout, financial insecurity, and a lack of stability by adults ages 29 to 44. Videos of these frustrated 30, 40-something Americans discussing their personal traits have garnered hundreds of thousands of views on social media, particularly on TikTok. Brandon, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so I mean, it's a victim mindset for him to say this, but it is true that you definitely have to approach life differently today, I think, than you did 20, 30 years ago because of the way that things are going with the inflation, the devaluation of money. I do think that it is like a bad situation for you if you just rely on a salary. If you're starting your career off now, like I don't think that 100 or 200,000 is gonna take care of yourself and a family. So I think that if you don't start a business or if you're not like in a commission based job where there is like uncapped upside for you, you're in a tough situation. But it's a victim mindset to say that it's helpless and you're giving up. I think you just have to be more exceptional than ever today as a young person, and that doesn't happen overnight. It's a rigorous thing that you have to be as obsessive about, and not everybody's gonna do it because it's probably like an 80-20 thing.
Being in a commission-based job as a young person is probably the best thing that you could do. So if you know a young person and trying to struggle and figure out how to navigate in this type of climate, being commission-based, even with a small base and commission, it's the best thing that you could ever do. If you commit to actually learn how to actually sell. So, and this is true even if you're not a young person and you're not in your 20s. If you're in your 30s, even in your early 40s, it's not too late for you to learn. I worked commission only doing alarm sales for ADT corporate and as a independent contractor. I did that for a couple years. And I did 6 figures each year. And I'll blow your mind even worse. My wife did the same thing with me, and she did 6 figures each year. And so and people don't like that. They like, hey, man, you're going door to door, or you're setting up appointments and meeting with people at their home or their business. I'm trying to tell you that, like, for me, when time's a situation, I told a buddy of mine this too. I said, man, go sell some systems. A time in a situation like this and money's tight, there are so many independent contracting companies that will hire you to sell alarm systems. Don't believe the hype thinking that everything is done online, simply safe, and people order it and just do that. You still have a good core group of baby boomers, Xers, who would prefer to have somebody come to their house and make sure that the house is wired properly and that that system is ordered properly. And those large systems, those automated systems that work only for like simply safe, those things are only good for people who have small little houses. You want the big houses because that's going to be the big money. But knowing that commission and knowing that when times are bad right now and they're crazy, somebody's trying to protect their stuff, somewhere. They could benefit from a security evaluation. Now, ADT is just one example, and that's commission-based. But the commission-based service, the closer it is to a need, and the further it fits in, better it fits and centers in the current climate, the more valuable you become. The more valuable it becomes, the more money you can make. More money you can make. More money.
With people who are willing to do what it takes to be exceptional, but that's my opinion on it.
How do you feel about it, Mark? Because you have 2 daughters, married 22 years. So this is something where you probably talk to your girls about. Their friends probably come over and say, "Hey, Mark, what do you think I should do?" All this other stuff. How does this language make you feel, and do you agree with them?
Yeah, so he says here that due to broken promises. The broken promises are that he went to university, and the problem is that the university gave him went to a industrial era university that gave him an industrial era lens and equipped him for an industrial era world, and he's now graduated and find out that he's no longer in an industrial era, and we've left the information age and we're now in the intelligence age. So they're unequipped, they don't have the right tools, they don't know how to look at the world. And so now the broken promise is that the world that they were equipped for and trained for no longer exists.
So we're in the intelligence age. That's why I'm saying we're witnessing a massive shift, even with all the stuff that's going on, chaotic wise, the chaos in Minnesota, stuff in California, this craziness that's coming up in Iran, and they're protesting and they're trying to get free, and Venezuela. We're in the middle of a real big transition. And the transition is going from one age to the next age. And I believe, and I believe, and I listen to Gary Vee and some of the great ones, but at the same time, I do remember some of the guys who wasn't the Gary V's, before Alex Hormozi started when he was just doing his first book. All these guys who spoke marketing and look at the future, look at content, things like that. We're going into that. We're in that space. Making content has become so much easier since AI. Once I understood how to use AI, my content game changed crazy. Even with this channel right here, I mean, you're watching it. Imagine this. I started this channel a couple years ago, and then I let it die out. And I did 1 or 2 videos here and there, and I let it die out. I hadn't touched this channel probably for about 2 years, man. And I woke up one morning, God, he was like, make content. So I had to start digging in, making content. I'm like, I didn't fight it. He was showing me signs already. This is why I say relationship with God is important. In 60 days, I took this channel from being 100 subscribers to over 1,000 subscribers in 60 days. He gave me the blueprint on how to do that. And now, for everyone that likes and subscribes to this channel, I appreciate you guys. Thank you for supporting. I had to get my shit together. But things like this, in the course of doing that, I learned so much with AI. I learned so much with thumbnails. I learned so much with making AIs. I learned so much with building AI tools, from chatbots to avatars to all. I just dug down deep into it. Videos, VEO3. We're in a different world right now, and it's coming. And the faster you can get onto it, the better it's going to be for your income streams.
The problem. The paradox is this: it's never been harder to survive right now with a college degree because wages haven't kept up with prices.
Which is true.
But the paradox is that it's never been easier to make money than it is today. We have $20 trillion that was printed in the last 5 years that's sloshing around in the economy. And with a laptop and some AI, you could go make 100 grand or 1 million or 10 million very quickly. So it's never been harder with industrial era lens. It's never been easier if you could realize that the world has changed. So how do I answer this as a father of two? Neither of my daughters are going to college. Neither.
Really?
No way. No way. The number
What
one.
what grade are they in right now?
I have a 21-year-old daughter and a 16-year-old daughter. So one's a junior, one's out.
So the one that's out, what does she do?
She's learning how to make money.
Is she having a hard time doing it?
No, she's making money. She can make money very easily. So she went to a trade school.
Okay.
She went to a trade school. She became a holistic health coach.
Okay.
So she spent $10,000, $5,000 plus another $5,000 in a trade school, right? She's a holistic health coach. She's doing holistic chefing. She's
So check that out. She just picked up a trade, whether it's that. It can be HVAC, it can be plumbing, it can be electrical, it doesn't matter. I picked up mine was real estate, right? Became a realtor, worked 20 years as a realtor, learning sales, marketing, things like that. Okay. That now postures you and puts you in that position where now I can do stuff like this channel and tell you in the Patreon and other ways on how to find great real estate deals, things like that. Or have those conversations so you can better understand if it's a good time to buy and sell, which I don't talk a ton about, honestly, because I got my feelings on that. We'll talk more about that later on. But that trade move is there. And now you add in content on top of that. We're making content. We're sharing this with you. We're adding value into your life in some way, shape, or form. And if I am, thank you. Please like and follow, subscribe if I am in any way, shape, or form. Okay. But you start building off of that. Now you can do things where some of these people don't get. And I'm challenging people. I know you're listening to me and I'm challenging you, but that the days of digital assets haven't gone away. I would say that they've changed their form. They've changed their form. Okay. When this video is done and it's loaded into YouTube, it becomes a digital asset for me. It's me telling you about how AI and the market is changing when it comes to careers and our children and us navigating them. Somebody may listen to this 6 months from now. They may listen 3 months from now. YouTube may turn around and pay me. That's why I say the time is changing. And a lot of older folks, unfortunately, can't get it. They're not keeping up with it. I mean, I'm 47 years old. I can count on my hand how many people I know my age that actually know how to use AI tools. They navigate ChatGPT very well, and they use it in some way, shape, or form in their business. I've seen the ones younger than me, of course, 35, and younger, 40, 35 younger, using those tools a little bit better. It's easier for people my age to probably go start doing something like delivering DoorDash or something like that, which isn't bad. But imagine now being able to take what you have for all these years and give it to somebody in the form of AI, because you're able to use these tools to better take your thoughts and put them on paper and articulate them, and monetize them.
got her Pilates certification. She has built up a decent audience. She's selling diet plans and she's making money. She's not looking for a job. My kids never look for a job. They just learned how to make money.
How was she in school? What was her GPA? Was she a high 4.0?
She was 4.0 all the way across.
So no problem with grades.
Sort of like me, she was didn't have to try. She did very well, but there was no university for her. I believe in the intelligence age, even the information age, the single most important skill is creativity. because now we have technical workers at our disposal. So now I have to see a problem, have a creative way to solve the problem, and I have to organize the orchestra to play the song that I want, right? And so school is specifically designed to remove creativity. That is the intended purpose. To remove creativity and keep people in a box. The number one thing we need today. That's why people like this get out and they can't see all the opportunity because they have zero creativity.
Okay, so this is a great, folks, this is phenomenal for you. Let me explain to you why. You have two girls, 21 and 16. Neither one of them you're saying are going to college. Tom, you have two girls, 19 and 14, right? Am I saying it correctly?
That's exactly right.
So that means exactly your girls are 2 years apart. The oldest, they're 5 years apart, 5 years apart,
5
right?
years apart, yeah.
So he's behind you by 2. Your oldest goes to a very well-known school. She got a 1560 on her SATs, and she's going to the college route. How different is your position than the one Mark just gave?
Well, my oldest is majoring in 2 STEM. She's a double major, statistics and analytics. And she is spending herself looking over my shoulder at startups and the engine of new business. So I would not have sent her simply to be a chemical engineer and come back with your
Or a
degree.
liberal arts degree.
Oh yeah, well that's off the table. We had a joke at our house and went like this: if you want to go study European art history at the Sorbonne in France, I hope your boyfriend has wealthy parents that love you more than I do,
Right.
that are willing to pay that bill. So that was always off the table. So she has a mentality of, right now she's coding in R, she's coding in Python, she's in statistics, and in 5 years she will have a double major and a master's of stats.
Amazing.
However, our focus on this is that weaponizes you to do what you want or to engage with a startup. Last year, her freshman to sophomore summer break, she did 6 weeks with a startup working with them. And before that, her break between senior year and freshman year, she did 9 weeks with a startup. That one was remote. But
I bet he realizes how his daughters think, so he knows how that actually fits. A lot of parents don't really take the time to really analyze how their children think. My wife started doing that, and it became like the best thing. But she's like, hey, they don't fit here, don't fit there. We see certain gifts and you see certain talents in them and abilities and skills that can be molded into other things. So Tom's kids can easily wait 6 years before they really touch ground on any type of real entrepreneurial venture. But there's something about failing early and failing fast that changes the game. There are a lot of things I wish I would have done when it came to even real estate, failing faster than what I failed. But you learn from those experiences, and I probably wouldn't have had some of those experiences if I was more plugged into God too. I'm no lie. I just didn't listen at that time. I was stubborn. But they got to get that experience. They really do have to get it because the market is changing drastically.
I'm putting her in the river of creativity of people who are doing things for the future. But if that wasn't available, she wouldn't. Funny we bring this up, her little sister, we often talk now because I talk more to the little one than the older one because the little one's now an only child.
Right.
Because her 5-year older sister is at school.
Right.
And so we've had these conversations recently, you know, if you think of something, maybe you're Mark Zuckerberg, maybe you don't go to college, but I want to put you in the river of creativity so you can see what new businesses are doing and what they're thinking.
Yeah.
Because she has a non-blood uncle that's sitting right over here, and she knows his educational background and what he built and where he went and what he did. And she has seen the conventions and the result of it. So we're a split household right now.
Here's where we align. I believe that college is an important path for many people. I certainly want my heart surgeon to have gone to college if I were to have heart surgery. But college was never meant for the masses. So college was for elite people to get elite training, to get elite jobs. It was never for the masses. Now
like cardiologists or nuclear physicists.
Right. And now you have the masses that are in there, and it's a supply-demand thing. There's not enough elite level jobs. So the old days was go to school, get a good job. But But that's past. It's not mass. Number two, what I would say to that is that if you need that specialty training like the STEM and follow her dad, that's great. Most people don't. A trade school like my daughter went to, I think, is good enough. And I would just also reframe what I think trade schools are today. So I think trades, if you break it down, is a specialty skill. So we typically think of it as like a blue collar skill, welding, plumbing, framing, something like that. And if I wanted to build a house or a building, I would call in trades, right? But today we have digital trades, we have soft trades. So if I want to build a business, I also call in trades: a social media person, an accountant, a bookkeeper, a video editor, and those are also trades as well today. And so I think a lot of people could just go to school or learn how to be a video editor, or learn how to be a social media manager, or learn how to be a copywriter, and they could make a lot of money applying those trades to multiple businesses. I think the world's changed, and most people just need to catch up with that.
I like what both of you guys said, because the way I judge people's kids is in the following way, and I'll test them all the time, and they don't even know I'm doing it. We'll go to dinner, and I'll just ask pointed questions. So, Bailey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Brooke, what do you think about it? What happens with kids with this? What are kids in school right now saying about what happened with Charlie Kirk? What are they saying about what's going on with Iran? What are they saying about this person that's a content creator? What do they think about this? And I'll do this with Grace. I'll do this with my niece. You know, she asks me questions about Israel. She'll ask me questions about Iran. Like controversial topics, I want to ask them to see how if their brain is creative enough to process the issue. And then I'll ask someone, I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, who? No, I don't know. I don't care. I don't this. That's a lazy way of thinking, and your parents made you think that way.
Yeah.
So you can have two parents, one goes the university route, one goes the no college route, and they can both end up being successful because the parents are teaching critical thinking. There's too many empty conversations. Like yesterday, Dylan and I are sitting, and he's doing homework. It's another one of those nights, Tom, till 11:30 he's doing homework. Now, here's the part. He had a basketball game and practice yesterday, and he had a 3-hour soccer practice. So the guy leaves school at 3 o'clock, basketball till 4:30, soccer till 9:30, comes home, showers, 10:15, sitting with me. We're there till midnight doing homework together. And, I'm stuck on this thing. Why are you stuck on it? Well, if the area of the triangle is 15.3 and the base is 4.5, I'm giving you the exact numbers, 4.5, and the formula is area equals half times base versus height, what is the height? Well, okay, what is half of, 4.5, 2.25? Okay, what is 15.3 divided by 2.25? I don't know how to do that. Yes, you do. What's 1,530 divided by 225? Well, I can do that. Well, then just move a couple decimal points. Go ahead and do it. What's the number? Comes out with 6.8. That's exactly the number I run to. What happened here? I got the number right. Yeah, you know how to do this stuff. Like, you got to push critical thinking.
Yeah.
You got to push for them to come up with a solution. And sometimes I think we waste too much time talking nonsense. Like, even if you're watching football, ask the question, do you think that was the right play? Do you think they did the right thing? Do you think they should have called the timeout? Do you think that the timeout was at the right time? Should he have?
Asking your kids and asking questions, so crazy. So freaking crazy. We take this for granted so much in life, we don't really notice it, the power of even asking questions. And even in the questions you ask, how are they formulated? Like, how do you put them together? What is it really about? That's why even when it comes to dating, when it comes to when I dated my wife, I constantly asked questions and asked a lot of good questions. Not these stupid questions that some of you guys ask, like, no. Like, good questions. Like, what's the latest book you read? Do you believe in God? Do you believe in communism? Do you believe in capitalism? What do you think about this? That exchange is the biggest thing that any couple right now, if you're dating someone, that you just need to have that level of exchange, because that question asking capability transfers over to real estate, it transfers over to business. So I'm now critically asking questions even to myself and then answering those questions. or when I'm in front of somebody that knows more than me or they're a professional, I go right to the right question, not just beat around to like a whole bunch of other questions that don't make sense.
What do you call intentional grounding? Or should they have done that to save the timeout? That would have taken 6 seconds. Why did they call a timeout? These are moments to use the brain to do critical thinking. I don't know what percentage of parents do that. If you're in our environment, and I bet it's probably the same with you as well, We're always asking stuff like
Yeah.
this, and it's strategic. Tom, I think you want to say something.
Because what you just said was so funny because Bailey and I spent time watching NFL playoff game that had teams that we didn't really care one way or the other about. We're just waiting for the Niner game so Mom can go crazy. None of the rest of us are Niner fans. And we were talking about coaching decision making. And Bailey came to the conclusion at the end, says, well, no wonder they're talking about firing that guy, even if they win this game. Because we're talking about decision making. We weren't talking about football. What a great play. What an athlete.
These are higher level conversations that if you ever feel that when you look at certain ethnic groups, let me rewind and say it like this. When you look at certain ethnic groups, okay? And when somebody ever tells you to say, oh, white people are like this, white people are like that, and then you have this. No, it's certain things that we hold more true than others. So there are some black families. This is not true for all. It's not true for a lot of black families. I'm not going to say it's true for all black families, but it's true more for less of them than it is for more of them. That's in my opinion. You tell me if I'm wrong. Leave a comment. I'll listen. They don't take the time to lay that foundation of asking those critical questions, critical thinking, challenging, and theorizing on basic things that you see. So why do you think he said this? Why do you think he did that? And I was, for a period of time, I was guilty about that too, because I didn't understand what was taking place and what was happening. What's happening at its core is you're challenging your child's brain to actually expand and think on a deeper level. And when you become really good at that, you can now turn around and apply that same thing to your everyday life. Now, this is a deeper level conversation. Some people really,
No, it's like, why would he make that decision like that? Why would he risk that? Why would they do that? And I said, well, maybe the guy's hurt. Maybe this here. Well, it certainly didn't turn out well, and he owns the decision, doesn't he? I said, he sure does. Well, no wonder people want to fire him.
Yeah, and I just think that's the muscle that if parents are watching this and they're kind of like, well, I'm part of Mark's camp. No, I'm part of Tom's camp. As long as you're part of the critical thinking camp, your kids are going to be fine long term. If you're not having these types of questions you're posing to them, you're going to have your kids that don't know how to think for themselves and make arguments. Present your argument why you believe this is the case.
If I could just add on to that just real quickly, I would just frame this as that I am not against education. I'm 100% pro voracious education. But education is something that you're interested in that helps you solve the problem to take you to the path that you want to go down.
For those of you that run small businesses, this is one thing that
and I'm big about that too. All right. Hey guys, like, subscribe, follow for more content. At the end of the day, if you can teach your kids to do that and practice that on everyday life, then you become better when it comes to dealing with some of the things that we see right now on the political side. When we talk about ICE, when we talk about liberal laws, when we talk about immigration, all these different topics, there is a certain level of critical thinking that needs to be applied. And critical thinkers are a lot of times not the people that's out there rioting in the streets. Okay. That's not them. And if we could teach our kids to be critical thinkers and actually question some of the things that they encounter in school and dealing with their peers, I believe that's when we can start to rebuild the culture, and we can rebuild everything from a foundational standpoint. We can now not assume that we know this conversation when it comes to God and in church. And when we go to certain churches and when we expose ourselves in our spiritual walk, we can now question when people say, like, the religious cliches, like I'm a sinner saved by grace. We can say, okay, let's critically think about that. How do you be both of those things at the same time? Explain to me how that works spiritually, and please have some support in scripture for it. That's the critical thinking. Hey guys, I see you guys on the next episode. Thank you very much for taking the time to listen to me for these last 2 hours. You guys be blessed.